And now and this is the University of Wyoming instructor training. And I'll send a link to this recording. We keep it on our servers for 10 days, and you can download it at any time within those 10 days and save it longer if you would like to as well. So to begin with, we will just show the overall for Canvas. So when any user logs into Canvas, this is what they'll see. We call this area the dashboard, and you'll see everything on this page is global. So you'll have all of your recent activities, and you can also show more. When you hover over, you can show more on the, I'm just going to go ahead and mute everybody. You can show more on the right-hand side. You can remove these items too. It doesn't remove it from Canvas. It just takes it out of this view. So it's just a way to clean up the view. You'll also see that next to my discussions on the left, there's a number 2 that lets me know that I have 2 new discussions. And when I hover again, I can see them. You can see the course that's related to it because they're hyperlinked with the short course name. You have a long and a short course name for each of your courses. And those are all hyperlinked, so you can easily access the course you need to get into from the left here as well. On the right-hand side is your to-do area. So for a student, they'll see the assignments they need to turn in, and for a teacher, they'll see the assignments they need to grade. You'll also see things that are coming up based on the calendar. So anything on the calendar in the next week will show up here as well. Across the top is the global navigation bar, and no matter where you are in Canvas, you will always see this bar. So you can easily access anything in Canvas. When you click on the logo, so this will probably be your University of Wyoming logo up here in the left, that will take you back to this dashboard, to your home page. The courses link will list all of the courses you're teaching or that you're taking, and sometimes both. You may be a teacher, it could be a professional development course or something, so you could be a teacher and a student, and those would all be listed here as well. If you hit View All Courses, this will not only show the courses that you're currently enrolled in, it will also show, you would be able to see the future enrollments that you're scheduled for, as well as any past enrollments, and the past enrollments are read-only. So you'll be able to access those through the Courses tab. You can also get to the Assignments tab. This will list, again, for students, courses that they're taking, and for teachers, courses that assignments that they need to grade. So students, it will be assignments they need to turn in, and teachers, it'll be assignments they need to grade. It'll tell you what course it belongs to, because again, this is global. So it will tell you the course, and you can just click on the link to open up that assignment. The grading tool here will show the grades for your courses. So it will say courses that you're teaching, and then it will have the average for the class. So if you're teaching a few different, the same course a few different times, you could compare the grades really easily amongst the different courses that you're teaching. They're hyperlinked to that course, so when you click on it, it will open up the grade book for that particular course, so you can access it all the time. And you'll also have the student interaction report that you can see how your students are doing, what their current score, final score, and if there's anything you need to grade for that student. And you could also message the student from here as well. Students would be able to access their grade book for all of their courses as well. So it would say courses that I'm taking here instead, and then they can see how they're doing in each of their courses just like this and access their grades for each course. And then lastly, we have the calendar. And the calendar is a great feature in Canvas. You'll notice off to the right here, you have your individual calendar. Both teachers and students will have their own personal calendar where you can add events to it. And you also have a list of all of your courses. You can just see one course at a time, or you can check the box and see the color codes for all of your courses. So you can easily see what you have due in what class because they're all color coded. When you go into this page here, or the calendar, you can add things to this calendar. So maybe tomorrow night we can have a party. So we'll add a party here. So the events are anything like maybe a study group, a presentation, a concert that you want your students to go to. And it doesn't even have to be related to school. So you can put in an event on this calendar. And so I'll just say 11 o'clock p.m. here. And then it'll ask you which calendar you want this to. So it has my personal calendar because I have it checked. If I pull it down, it will have all of the courses that I'm teaching, so that I have checked off to the right here. So I'm going to say I want it in this course here, and I can submit. There are also more options that you can click on where you can put the details, the map. So you could put a lot more details in the more options here as well. I can also add an assignment to my gradebook. Again, I click the date that I want it in the assignment tab, and I can say UW assignment 1. And I can also hit the more options down here below to put all of the assignment details, or maybe at this point I just want to get an idea of how I'm going to lay out my courses with the dates, and then later on I'll go in and put the details. I have assignments group set up, and we'll show how to do that later, but I would want to make sure that I have my assignment in the right group. And so I'm going to hit submit. And so now my assignment's on the 28th. And these will automatically populate the Canvas syllabus, the grade book. If you have it in a module already and you have it, you can just change it here and it would automatically update in the module as well. So you can just drag the dates on the calendar and it will move also in those other areas as well. So you only have to do it in one place, and wherever you create this assignment, you can move it around in the calendar and it will also change the dates in all of the other areas automatically. So it's really a convenient way to use your calendar. When you copy to next semester and you have the same quiz layouts and everything, but now maybe it's a Tuesday, Wednesday class, you can adjust that in the calendar or when you import the course, but you might have like holidays or something, some other issue, then you can just drag it and it will automatically update everywhere else. So this is a really great feature. Sure, so the question was, how do you know the assignment was for a specific course? They're color-coded, so on the right-hand side you see the different color codes for each course, and they're color-coded over here. So if I added another assignment for a different course here, so we'll just say assignment 5 here. There's a drop-down here of which course, so I could put it in this English course, and now you'll see it's green here in the back, and this matches the color coding. And then I can submit, and now it's green. So you'll just have to pay attention to the colors, but you can see that now on the 28th I have a green assignment and a red assignment. So that's basically how you would do it. But when you hover over, you can still see when you do the hover, you'll see calendar, and it'll tell you what course it's from. So besides the color coding, that's like the quick visual, but when you hover, you can see if you don't remember the colors, you can hover over and see, but they're also on the side here. So on the right-hand side also, you'll see there's a calendar feed. This will open up, so you have a link, so you can share it with your Google Calendar, your Outlook calendar. So this will allow a feed, so all of that information can go into whatever calendar you use all the time. However, you can't import your Google Cal or Outlook to Canvas. You can only export that information. So you can only feed out, you can't feed in. But this will allow you to, and especially for students, this is great because then their Outlook calendar, whichever calendar they use, will have all of their assignments populated on it, along with their work schedules and other events that they have going on. So this is a great feature to have, especially for students. So again, this is for all of your assignments or all of your courses together. Then on the right, on the top right in the global navigation, you'll see that I have my name and settings. These will take me to my own personal navigation. So every user in Canvas has their own personal settings that they're the only ones, well, besides the admins at the school, that can change these settings. So they can go in here easily and update their settings. So I opened up, because I clicked the Settings tab, that opened me directly to my own settings. You'll see that I have my name and time zone. If you have students that are in a different time zone, or any of you live outside the Mountain Time Zone, you can change this by clicking on the Edit Settings on the right-hand side. That way, if something's due at 5 o'clock, you don't have to calculate the time difference. Canvas will already calculate that for you. Then on the right side, you'll see ways to contact. So the first email I have here is with a star. This is my school default email that was set up through the account. But I could edit this or add this to this email. So if I wanted to put a Gmail account or some other email address, I could register that email. And this would be for notifications. So that way, if I want to find out when something's been graded through a different email, I could have it sent to this email address. I could also have a cell number added to my account here. This teachers and other students won't have access to your cell number. This is just for you to get notified. So you could put your cell phone number in here, select the carrier, and then register your cell phone. That way you can also get that information through via a text information. And then down below here, you'll see that we have other services. So these are links to services that you already may have an account in, or you have to have an account before you can register them with Canvas. So it just adds an easy link between these services and Canvas. You'll see I've already registered my Google Docs account because this will share, it will open up to my Google Docs, so it makes it very convenient. You could also do Facebook, LinkedIn, and so it will ask you for your LinkedIn account. So you would just need, this verifies that you do have it, and it makes an easy connection between the two items. Okay, so this page here, your settings, is how you want to be notified. So we'll go to the notifications, and I have my notifications all emptied out, so I have no notifications. By default, you will have some of these notifications already selected. So on the left, you'll see course activities. When you hover over, it explains what each item is. And then on the right, there will be, I recommend going into your notifications and checking to see what notifications you already have set up by default, and check to see if you want to keep those. So this will send you a notification when any of these items happen, or it could post on your dashboard or your course. So you would just hover over each item and it will let you know. Conversations here refers to our inbox, which a lot of times could be referred to as email too, but we call them conversations in Canvas. It's our messaging system. So when you see this, that means that it's a message. So just go through here and decide how you want to be notified. So for example, for students with grading, they might be really excited about a grade and might want to have a text message sent to them right away. So they would click the X here. You could, if you're invited to something, you might want to be texted right away. Maybe you want to be emailed right away. So you can just go through here. Your options are right away, which is instant, by the end of the day, so that's the end of the workday, about 5 or 6 o'clock, weekly, which is late Friday night, about 11, or never. So you can go through. If you decide you don't want that notification, you just hit the X and it will remove that notification. So this is, again, the how or when you want to be notified. And every user has this. Also in the help corner, you have the inbox. So the inbox is our messaging system. You can sort on the left by inbox, unread, starred, or sent. So you have the different options here. You can also, again, this is, I only have one course in here, so, but when you have multiple courses, all the messages for all of those courses will feed in here with the most recent on top. And you'll be able to tell which course it is because it will say the course name after the user's name. So you can easily see that way. You can also filter by course. So when you hover over to the middle, you will see a little blue guy. And this is where you can select the course that you want to filter. So I'm going to filter by this course, so it will pull up everybody in this course. And so I can see just the messages for this course. I can also, on the right-hand side, it will show up all the conversations I've had with that person. If a new one has comes in, it will have, like, they're threaded, so it will show that message, but you will see all of the communications you've had with that user. You can also, when you can delete it by checking the box over on the right. Another thing you can do is when you're clicking on the message, you'll see that the date on the far right, it's July 8th at 3:31. If I check this box, this will allow me to forward or delete this particular message. So if someone sends you a message and you want to forward it to somebody else, you just check this box underneath the date and timestamp, and then you'll have the option to forward or delete. Okay. When you're ready to start a new message, if there is items over here, you can just hit the pencil in the top middle, and this will open up a new message. Again, you'll hover over to the right and see the little blue guy pop up. This will allow you to filter. So if you want to send a message to everyone in a certain class, you just select the class, select everyone, and select all. Yeah, messages are conversations. So it's that's what we call our inbox, is conversation. So any kind of messaging like this in Canvas is called considered a conversation and shows up in the inbox. Okay, so now I have my to is everybody in this course. I can send my message. If I want to make this a group conversation and have it when someone responds, it responds to everybody, I can check this box so then everybody is getting the email or the conversation, so everybody's involved. You can also attach an item to it, or you can record a video. So you could even have a verbal conversation with your students, and just like for a foreign language, for example, you could speak that foreign language, send that message out to your students, and then have them respond back in the foreign language. You could just, so you could have a whole conversation via video, and then if you use the microphone, it's audio, and then if you did it on your cell phone or something, you could also upload audio and video and attach it too. So you can include audio and video, and then you would send. And so then the person would get this message in their inbox up above. And if they have their notifications set up they would have it also forwarded to an email or text message or something like that, depending on what their notifications are. So this is the messaging system in Canvas, and it's also called Conversations, and it's related to the inbox on the top help corner. Okay, also in the help corner, we have our help box. So you would click help. You can search the Canvas guides, and these are super valuable. I still use these all the time. You can search the various guides. We have Getting Started with Canvas. We have the Canvas guides. They're broken down by each type of user. We have mobile guides. The phones are Android and iPhone. The mobile tablet is an iPad, and so you can get the information on how to use those, as well as video tutorials. So we have 3 to 5 minute videos on how to do things. So if you'd rather watch a video, you can go in there too and find the video. Those are being updated, so we will eventually have a lot more videos. So if it's not there now, it hopefully will be there soon. So I'm going to go into the instructor guide and show you a little bit how you can use the guides. They're built by chapters, which each lesson in the chapter is built by or structured as a question. So you can search through the different items. If you want to save a chapter or bookmark a chapter that you really want to go back to, you just click the title on the left here, and then you can just favorite this or copy this URL, and you'll have that hyperlink, and when you pull that up, it will just pull up this particular chapter here. So it's an easy way to search. You can also go in here and I can go in here and select, like, how do I save an assignment on the calendar? And this will bring you into the details of how to do it. So the Canvas guides are, they're very quick and easy. They'll have a red box around where you need to focus and great screenshots. You can even click on the screenshots and it will pull it up so it's even easier to read. So you can just see that screenshot. They're quick and easy so that you can get out and get in really quickly and do what you need to do. If I keep scrolling down on the right-hand side, if I want to have this in a PDF file, I can download it in a PDF. It also tells me when it's last updated. So if you ever want to share them, we always recommend sharing it with the URL because our Canvas guides are updated quite frequently. I can also download it into a PDF. and this will open up a PDF version of this file. And then I can also, print this out. I can also copy from it. So if I'm creating my own, like just things that I want to remember, I can just go in here and copy the information and paste it onto another document if I wanted to share it that way. So you have various options of how you can use the Canvas guide. A word of caution, you don't necessarily want to print the Canvas guides. I think I have a picture here somewhere. Because this is what it would look like. It's 1,100 pages double-sided, so 2,200 pages of documentation just for the instructor manual alone. So it's a lot of paper, so I highly recommend not printing the whole thing, but chapters, are great. So that is the Canvas guides and the help. We also have, when you have an issue with Canvas, you can report a problem. We always recommend that you check out the Canvas guide, see if you can answer the question yourself, fill in the subject, a description, and then how it's affecting you. Is it a casual question, something's broken, you have a workaround, up to an extreme critical emergency? And then this will come to us to resolve. So it gathers a lot of information about what, the type of browser you're using. If you can add screenshots, there's a link to Jing. So the more information you can provide, that's helpful. And if something's not working right, let us know so we can fix it as well. So that is the help in the corner. You also have Ask the Community, which will bring you to, to the Community Center and Request a Feature. So this will allow you to ask other people in the community that are using Canvas how they use Canvas, workarounds, great things to do. There's conferencing, presentations you can watch, seminars. So there's a lot of great information. Canvas is a new product, so if you wish we had something that we don't, look for the feature, make sure that it's not already there. If it's there, like it. If it's not, then add it so other people can like. That way we know what people want and how to improve Canvas. You can get to all of these by help.instructure.com as well. You can also get to the guides by guides.instructure.com. So that is the help corner on the top. Again, this bar at the top will take you to everything in Canvas. So I'm going to go into a particular course. I'm going to go into my CL training course. And when you log into the course, you come to your recent activity. This page is also set up for you by you, how you want to welcome your students to your course. So we'll go over in a little bit some things you can do to edit this page. You'll see on the left-hand side is your navigation to navigate around the course. In the middle is your to-do area, your work area, and then on the right is usually your to-do things that you can edit and add as well. You'll be able to see once you have data in, you'll have your course analytics you can access here. You'll see the to-do, the assignments that I need to grade, as well as the coming up, as I showed earlier. But now I added the UW party and assignments to my calendar, so now it does show up here in the coming up area. If I go all the way to the bottom, I can get to the settings for my course, and I can go into my course details. And your course details, you will be able to edit some of this information. So at the bottom left, you'll see Edit Course Details. You can extend the access that you and your students have by filling in the dates, and you can select the box so that that's the dates that you can participate in the course. You can enable a grading scheme for your course, so you can choose the default, or you can search if there's any set up by the account. You can find an existing one, or you can create a new one by hitting the pencil. So if you wanted to use, for example, you don't use plus and minuses, you use pass or fail, you use different terminology. So you can go in here and check out different types of grading, add different types of grading schemes that you want to use. And also at the bottom, I highly recommend to check out the more options at the bottom, because this will give you some options. So for example, for announcements, students can make comments on it if you want to disable that. So if the announcement is just an announcement, you're not open to comments, you can deselect that. So it has some suggestions here, or some things that you can change and edit at the very bottom. So that was the more options. If you make any changes at all, be sure to click at the very bottom, Update Course Details, to make sure those stick. Otherwise, you'll lose the changes that you made. And when you see the big blue button like this anywhere on Canvas, that means an action needs to take place. So you might have to save or update that information. So just follow whatever that blue button wants you to do if that's what you want. The Users tab is now moved to People, so you'll have that in the left navigation. And the navigation on the left-hand side, it's recommended that you set this up so you remove the items that you're not going to use in the course, just to make it more simple for your students. So that way, when they go in here, they know exactly, they can easily navigate your course. So to do that, all you have to do is drag the items down below here. So if I'm going to use modules in my course, I'm going to link all my quizzes and assignments to, and my discussions to the module, so I don't need those extra tabs there. I'm going to move that one. I can also, maybe I'm going to link to announcements, so I'm going to remove that one. You'll notice underneath the word at the bottom, when you drag it down, it will let you know if it's going to be disabled when it's hidden or just hidden. So just be aware of what that is. And you still use these links when you move them down. So I'm just going to remove the items that I'm not going to use in my course so I can keep this really clean for the students. So now I have my navigation set up. I can hit Save. And now you'll notice on the left-hand side, it has just those few items dark and the rest are all grayed out. So exactly what the student sees are these first 6 items. Okay, so there's a question about, okay, I have you unmuted. Can you hear me?
All right.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, go, Meg.
So, Dianna, this is Meg. I'm also involved with the pilot. And my question is what happens on the course details page, at the bottom of the page, there's the Edit Course Wiki options. If that's set for students, to allow students to edit course wiki pages, does that mean that students can then edit pages that teachers have created, or how does that work? It's the very bottom, yeah.
Yeah, they can, you can have it so only teachers or teachers and students can edit it. And I believe, let me go in and double check just to make sure I'm accurate here. If I go to my home page, because that was the question, or wiki pages not in general. So if I go to pages, I believe you have the option again when you're on the page itself and creating it. Oh no, maybe not. It's just, it used to be that way. So yeah, they would, I'll have to check on that because that's a really good question, because there's some pages you want them to edit and some you don't.
Right.
Right.
You'd want to be able, not content pages you wouldn't want them to, but you would want them to be able to edit ones that you want them to. That made a lot of sense anyway.
Right, because it used to be on the page here. But wait, let me see. This is the home page. Let me create a new page. I'll create a new page here. Yeah, so here it is. It's not on the home page. Students don't have the option on the home page, but other pages you still have those options. So I don't know why it, I guess if you put it in the course details, you won't have this option show up here maybe.
Okay, so if you said only teachers across the whole course, then you wouldn't have this option here probably.
That's what I'm guessing, yeah, because I've always just paid attention to it here, so. Because, yeah, some pages you want them to edit, some you don't, so you have the option here. But the home page, they don't ever have the option to edit the home page, so that's why, and when you first go into pages, it will open up to that home page, so.
Okay, thank you very much.
Great question, thank you, so awesome. Okay, so we'll go back into the settings. So now I set up my navigation so it fits. We also have apps tools here. This is a new setup that we have with the apps, and you can use, you can add various apps. All you have to do is hit the add tool. This one is a paid-for app, so you need to contact the company to get the consumer key and secret before you can add it to Canvas. But there are a lot of free apps in here. So I would just go back to my App Center. And like I could add TED video here and add this tool and then submit. So that's all I have to do to add tools. And this will show you where it will be located. So I have 2 of them here, so I can go ahead and delete one of these. I also, let me delete this one too. You can also add this redirect tool. Sorry, I'm on a little screen, so I'm like having to move everything around to get this. So I'm gonna go to my App Center here. And then if I scroll down a little bit, if you want to add something in your navigation over on the left-hand side, you can do that using the redirect tool. So I just hit this redirect tool here. I add the tool or the link. All I have to do is type in the name and then what the URL is, and then I click on Show in Course Navigation, and that will let it show up in the navigation. So that URL will open up in your page. So it could be like the Library of Congress, it could be, you know, whatever it may be, you can add a link in here, and then it will show up over on the left-hand side. So this is a great tool if you want to add, if there's something in a specific course that you want to add to your navigation, you can do so. And it's the half-curved little tool here. Then you click View Installed Apps, and you can see exactly what tools are added and where they're located. The Editor button is the Rich Content Editor. Otherwise, it would say Course or Navigation or Course Navigation. And you can always remove them later, too. And you may have some tools already in your Rich Content Editor that the account set up for you. So it's possible that you have some of these tools already on in your courses. Okay, so I'm going to jump back up to the home page. And so like I said, this is what the students see when they first log into Canvas. This is the default page. And this is how you want to welcome your students to your course. So you can think about what you want them to see when they first come into the course. And you can click on the Change Home page layout. This is the recent activity dashboard. You can. So the question was, can we make a direct link to the Online Writing Center as part of our navigation? And you can. And if this is just for the English department, and you have the English department has their own account in Canvas, like a sub-account it's called, they can set it up so it's already there for all of the English professors. If it's something school-wide, the account can set that up so it's there for everybody. And if it is set up at the account level, people can hide it like I showed if they don't want it. So yeah, that's a great question. And a perfect example. I can also, you can have course modules show up and the assignment list showed up. But remember, this is what the students see when they first access your course. So I kind of like having personally either the assignments with the syllabus or a page I'll design myself, because then you can put, although my example here I need to fix because it's not the best, but I like to have more of, you know, like I need to add a picture to this and make it a little bit more friendly. But you could have like class expectations, learning objectives, and then down below, here's the syllabus that is populated by Canvas. So I added that UW party and assignment on the calendar, and so it shows up here. So I can use this anywhere you add it, it will show up. You could also use, this is exactly what the syllabus tab on the left navigation is. So even you could use for your home page, the page I designed myself, and then have this be the second link up here that has all of the syllabus information. You can also create, change home page layout again, and I can do a page I'll design myself, and I'll show you how to use the Rich Content Editor now. So I'm updating the layout. You come up with a blank page here, and you see on the upper right it says See Course Stream. This will always take you back to that activity stuff. So you'll still be able to see that default, but it will just let you go back and forth once you save it. So to edit this page, I just go to Edit This Page on the right, and then we have the Rich Content Editor with your standard bold italicized. You can change font colors. You have your, if you want it centered, bullets, you can indent. So you have your standard features. This eraser tool in the middle will just remove formatting. So if you copied and pasted something into Canvas and it doesn't look right with the bolding or the colors or indentation, you highlight it all, and this remove the formatting. It keeps the words and everything, but it takes out the formatting. So you can start over with the indentations how you want it. So this just removes formatting. So I could, if I have my announcements tab hidden in the left navigation, because I want to have it on a page that I create myself, and so I want to add it here. So I can just type in announcements here. And then maybe I want to make this so it's, you know, the color is red, and I want to make it really big, and then I want to center it. So I have all of those things that I can do. Maybe I want to bold it too. And then over on the right-hand side where you see links, these are all of the things you've created in Canvas. So these things link directly to the navigation on the left-hand side. So I can hyperlink this announcement to all of my announcements in the course. So instead of showing it in the navigation, I'm going to have it on my home page. And then I can click the announcements on the right-hand side. There's an announcement list. So when I click this, it will link this announcement to, so it turns yellow, and now it's linked to the announcement. So when the students come in and click this, they'll be able to open up the announcements. I can also add a table if you want to have things side by side and really neatly aligned. The best way to do that is through a table. So you just want to make sure your cursor is where you want that table, and then click the table. It will pull up. Make sure that you know exactly how many columns and rows that you want before you insert the table, because otherwise you have to do it through the HTML or start over, because it doesn't let you edit the table properties. So I have my table here, and I'm going to center it. Okay. So now I can add things inside this table. On the images on the far right, maybe I want to add some images to my table. So these are images that I brought in from into my files. So they're images that I've already uploaded. I can also add additional images by upload a new image. There's a green plus, and so I can upload those. I can also find images on Creative Commons here as well. So I'm going to add this discussion one, and then I'm going to add my group icon, maybe the reading. So I can add these images that I've created here to my course, and then maybe this video one. So now I have all of these images, and so now maybe I want to link these to something. So this first one is the discussion one. So I'm going to link this to my discussions in Canvas. So I'm going to link it to the discussion list. Then this group one, I think maybe I'm in the navigation here. I'm going to link this to my people in my course. The next one is the readings. So maybe I want to link this to a file. Maybe I have a worksheet or something of the list, or a page of files that I want them to read. So I could link this to a specific thing. So I'll just add this Word document. And then this last one is a video. So maybe I want to link this to a YouTube video or something. And I could do that as well. So, or I could, so the first link here are things that you've created in Canvas. The next items are things that you brought in. Oh, I do have videos here. So maybe this last one, I'm going to link to this video. So, and then the last item is, images that you brought in. So files and images are things you've uploaded and you can upload here, or you can do links that are things within Canvas. So now I have my little table here. I can also link using the link up here. So I can link to something using a URL. If I teach math, there's formulas that I can create using the little tool, little pie tool. So I can do in different formulas. I can also add an image. So there's a little tree here. You can, again, you can use a URL, you can use a file that you've uploaded, and then this is Flickr Creative Commons again. So I'm going to type in dogs just because I like them. So I can type in the dogs category here, and then it will bring up all these pictures that I can add to my course. So I can go through and decide which picture I want to add. So we'll just pick this guy. He's a cute puppy. And then I can go down here below where it has dimensions. And if I change the first ratio, the second one will also change. So I could say this, and then it will automatically change the other dimension to update it. I can also center the picture. So now I can add a picture on my page as well. You can also add video. So here's the TED and the YouTube video. So maybe I want to pull in a TED video. So that's where those app tools I showed early come in really helpful. So I can pick one here, or I could search for them, whatever I want to do. So I'll just grab this one for, I don't know what it is. So then you can add a video. You could also add a video, and you could also add a video using this little film strip. This is one you create, and you can upload as well. But if this is on your home page, maybe you want to have a video explaining what your course is, telling them about yourself, especially for an online course. It's really helpful for students to hear and see you talk. So you could do a video this way. You could also just do audio or upload media as well. So, but a lot of people like to welcome their students using the video so students can get a look and feel from you directly. So you could do that. And then when you're done, just save your changes. So, although this link didn't get linked in there, it just put the video in on the side. So I don't like that, so I'm going to remove it. So I'm just going to hit this, whoops. I'm going to hit this little break this link one and save it. So now I have, if I click on my announcements, it will open up to the announcements tab. If I click on this, it will open up to the discussions index. So it'll have a list of all of the discussions for the course. So you can link the people, will open up to the people tab in the course. So I can see the people. The readings will open up to a document. So then the students can go out and open the document that they need. I do have the picture here, and then the video that I added as well with the TED video. So I have a question that, no, you can just record using the little film strip. So it says, do I still need Camtasia to build video, or does Canva allow me to record internally? Yes, you can still, when you use the rich content editor, or even the video in the messaging, you can use this video instead, so you don't need to use Camtasia, although this doesn't have screen capture like Camtasia. So if you wanted to capture your screen, you couldn't do it that way, but you could upload the video here if you did use a screen capture in Camtasia or something. So you could still upload that file here, but if it's just you talking, you know, your face talking to the student, or a whiteboard that you're holding, you know, like a diagram that you can record, you can do it with this video here. Okay, so you can also go back and see your page history. So if you create your page and you're like, no, I don't really like the way this looks, and you can go back to your history and see, pick a one that you like better and revert back to that version. So you can always go back to, it saves a history of all of the changes that you made. So you can go back to one of them. So that is the home tool up above. And so we're going to go down to the next item, which is modules. So modules in Canvas are just a way to organize your course so the students can move through in an organized fashion through your course. You can set it up by units, by chapters, by weeks, by topics, whatever makes sense for your course, so that the students can easily work their way through the course. And to create a new module, you just go up into, on the upper right, blue button, hit Create Modules, and you would name the module. So I'll just name it that. You can lock it until a given date, so the students have to work through it until, or they can't access it until you put that date. So if it is like week 1, week 2, you could lock it until week 2 and then lock it and then unlock week 3 when week 3 starts. So you can even have it locked until a given date. Once you have other modules in here, you're able to add a prerequisite that they have to finish one of the other modules before they can do this module. So you have those options, and then you just add module. If you already have modules in there, it will bring it to the bottom. So there's little arrows next to each item, so you can move them around. You can move items from one module to another. You can reorder them. So I'm going to drag this module up to the top. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see the little gear. There's a drop-down, so I can add content. So I can add an assignment, and I added that assignment to the calendar, so it shows up here. So I'm going to add this item to my module. I can add, if I made discussions, I can add those. And the new ones are always at the bottom. So if you want to add a new one and create your course via modules instead of the calendar or the assignments page, you can always add new items here as well. And then you would just name it and you can add the item. So you can create your whole course using the modules. So again, quizzes, if you've created quizzes before, they'll show up. Files, these are things that you brought into Canvas from outside. So I could add a file here. And so maybe I'm going to add a PowerPoint file. I think I have one. I deleted it. So I'm just going to add a file here. I'll use this. Oh, here's the PowerPoint. So I'll add this PowerPoint here. You can also add a content page. So if you've created pages, or you can create a new page here as well. So you can create a new page. You can even make your front page in the module. And so I'm going to add that UW page that I created, or just added. Oops. The next item is the that I really like is the URL. So I could add a URL to something here. So I would just put in the URL. Let's see. Trying to think of something. So I'll put in Instructor in Canvas and add this URL. Let's see if, and then I'll also add a video. So if I want to add a YouTube video, for example, I'll add this Harlem Shake video. And when I open up YouTube, it gets kind of crazy, and you're going to have to watch the commercial. You never really know what you expect and what students will see on the page. So I can take this URL here and copy the URL and go back into my module and add it. And then just all I have to do is paste that URL from YouTube, and I can type in and then add that item. You can also add a header. The header is if you have readings in your course, if you have assignments that you want to break up so that it makes it a little bit more easy to follow for the students, like lecture, readings, whatever. You can just move it around so the students know what they what each item is. So maybe I'll have my UW page be like a list of readings. So now when the student goes into the course, they can navigate around these items. So I'm going to go into my settings at the bottom, and then we'll go into the course and show you what the students would see. So to get to your student view, you would go into settings, and then on the upper right, you have a student view, and this will open up Canvas so you can see exactly what your student sees. So this is the home page I created. Again, if I click on announcements, it will take me to the announcements for that course. Which I'm not sure why it's not linking to. It'll take me to the discussions. So this will navigate around. I can see the video. I can also go to the modules and work my way through the modules. So this is a blank page. So if I go to this PowerPoint, this will open up the PowerPoint. This is a file that I added, and it will open up the PowerPoint so I can actually view the PowerPoint. I can make it smaller so I can see all of it, and then I can just hit the arrows to see, move around and navigate. If I hit the arrow on the far right, that will open it up in where it was created. You'll see at the bottom I can go to the previous item or the next item. And so then I can go to the next item. And then go to the next. And this is the instructor URL. And for some reason it's not working. If I click on this title, it will open up into onto the web, and it should be, for some reason this is not working, but this should be where you could fully navigate around the Instructor website. And then the next one is the video, and this is that video I added from YouTube. And so now you'll see how it's so much nicer because it's right in the course. So you have the previous and the next item. And then I can also click on the Harlem Shake title, and that will take me out to YouTube. But it's a great way to add a video to your course because it's you know, just very large and it's part of the module. So when you add in a website or a video to your page, you would just want to check. For some reason, they do have some of the URL stripped, so not all of them will work. So they must have stripped the Instructor website. So then I can go to the next module. So the students can just work their way through the various modules. Okay, and I'll show you how students can take an assignment and a quiz. So for an assignment, when the students open up the assignment, they'll see the assignment details on top. And then as I scroll down, you'll be able to see, if you add a rubric, they'll see exactly what you're wanting them to do for that assignment. And then they can submit on the upper right-hand side. So for my assignment, I gave them 4 different ways to upload. A file upload would be like if they browse and they would bring in a file. A text entry would be a text box where they would just type it in. They can also copy and paste something from Word. A website URL could be like a blog or Dropbox or something with the URL. And then a media, so they can record that audio video. So if it's, maybe they need to do a presentation to you or speech or something, and it's a verbal or audio video, they can do that here as well. And they can also upload from their cell phones or another upload media as well. So I'm going to do the file upload. I'm just going to pick a file and submit it. And then I'll submit, big blue button. I can add comments in there as the student as well. These comments that they add here will also show up in your conversations and in your inbox. So now it tells me as the student that I turned it in, the date and time, the submission details, and then it will show me the document. So I can open up this Word doc just to make sure it's the right one as well. Then I can go to the next item in the module, which should be a quiz. And so I would see all of the question details for that quiz, and I can go ahead and take the quiz. And I only have 2 questions here, but it will show a list of questions. And if I tab this, because I'm not sure about it and I want to go back to it, you'll notice on the right, it will have a tab next to that item. And then when I click on the question number, it will open up to that item. When you only have 2, it's kind of obvious that you need which one you need to go back to. But if you have 20 questions in here and you have a question about 3, 5, and 12, you can have those tabs and you know exactly what question you want to go back and review. So it makes it really nice. And then when you're done, if you're sure, you just untab it. And so I'm just going to answer these questions. And then I just hit submit the quiz. And you can do this. I'm in here as a test student, so you can do this and take your own course as you are the student. So now you can see which one I got right and I got this one wrong. It will show me which one in red I got wrong and what the correct answer is. So I can see that item, and then I can go to the next module in this case. So modules are just a great way to move around the course. You'll also see quizzes are graded instantly. So in my grades on the right-hand side, if I click on my grades, I have 1 new grade. So this is this quiz grade here. As a student, I can go in and I can click on all of the assignments or link to that particular assignment. I can see my score for that quiz. I got 5 out of 10. I can see the submission that I had turned in. I can also click on my score and add scores here and see what I need to do to achieve in that course. So we call these what if scores. So I can go in here and see what I need to do to get an A in this course. So it's really helpful here to go through and have the ability to see what you need to do to improve your grade. But again, on the right, you always have to revert back to actual scores. This doesn't change your grade book. This just allows the students to get an idea of what they need to do to achieve. So when you're done, you could reset what you submitted in the quiz you took or just leave the student view. Your The test will show up in the gradebook as a test student. So at the very bottom here, you'll see it says test student. My quiz score, what I got, and then the scientific method, the assignment I've uploaded as the test student. This does not calculate into your class averages though. So I'm going to go back to the beginning and show you how to add assignments. Is there any questions on the modules and the student view for those? So we'll go to...
Looks like we're good around here, so.
Okay, great. So the assignments, I've added 4 different types of assignment groups here. So I'm going to weight my grades. If I don't want to weight them, I can just deselect this box. So when you first come in here, it's totally blank. You would have to check the box to weight the groups. If you use attendance, the attendance will show up in assignments. So I moved it to, I created a group and I added the attendance inside of that group to take it out of my assignments area. To add the groups on the right-hand side, you would just hit the plus, add assignment groups, and so I could add this as presentations here and update. And I can even, you can create your whole assignment thing through this view as well. So you could do it on the calendar, you can do it in the modules. So I could set up my shell through this area. So if I decide, okay, I'm going to have 2 presentations or 3 presentations for this semester, I could have my group here, hit the plus button, and I'll just update, hit it again, update, hit it again, and update. So now I have the list of 3. I can go through each of them and say, okay, I'm going to have 1 assignment due a week, so I can just hit that plus and add 12 assignments, and then later go and do the details. So you can even set it up here as well. If you add an assignment on the right, when you add the assignment, it's going to put it whatever is first. So you'll want to use the drop down and have it go into the category you want it to go into. So I'm going to delete this attendance 2 here. And then you can also put this in alphabetical order by dragging. So if presentations I want to move up here, I can put that so it's in alphabetical order as well. And then I'm going to weight, check the weight box, and now all of my assignment groups are on the side and they're weighted. And so I don't have a weight for presentations yet, so I added that. And you can always change these here. You can also change them in the gradebook. So we had a question, do you have advice whether one ought to start with calendar or modules? I build my syllabi weekly by readings and assignments, so I tend to think I will start with modules, but it seems like a clever calendar planner might be the most efficient way. I think it's a matter of personal preference on how you want to do it. Because like I prefer modules, but I was in a training and the guy's like, why would anyone do it in the modules? You would have to do it here. And so and then the guy sitting next to him was like, well, there's different ways, so you can just choose the way that works best for you. And that's how it is. So I know people who love the calendar and they build it all because they're more of a visual person and they like to see the dates. So that's why there's so many different ways to do things, because everybody has a different style and how they do things. So it doesn't matter which way, it's just whichever one works best for you and how you want to build your course. So it's not really a great answer, but you have like the different options that you can use. So you can play with all of them and just see which one just seems more, more fitting to your personality and how you do things. Okay, so then you just build the different groups. Groups are different than assignment type. When you do go into, like when I open up this presentation 1 to add the details to this assignment, okay, so now I'm going to go in here and add the different areas. So you do have your assignment group here at the bottom. So if you do have it in the wrong group, you can change it here as well. So I have the name. Maybe I want to change this to UW Presentation 1. You write in the assignment detail. And just like I showed with the home page, you have your rich content editor where you can add video, audio, censor, all that. You can link to everything in Canvas. You can link to files and images as well. So you have different options here. of how you want to link to things. You can put your point value in here, so I can say the points when it's due. And then show advanced options is probably the most critical thing that you want to add here. And this submission type, you have to have, if you're going to turn it in online, you need to select online submission. It defaults to no submission, so be sure to change it to online. And then you have to check one or two or all of those options, at least one of those options to upload. So you could just say, in this case, allow media recording if you're going to allow it online, or maybe it's just their notes from their presentation. So you can select a file upload. So you have your different options here of what you want them to turn in. And like I said, you could check all of them. It doesn't matter. They can only turn it in one of these methods. So you're just making sure that they can submit it online and how you want them to submit it. So if you don't, you can have, if you have different sections, you can select which sections. You can have multiple due dates as well. And you can also make it available from and until. So the students won't have access. They can see that they have an assignment, but they don't have access until the available from. And if you don't take late assignments, then you can put until. That way they can't turn it in late. And then once you have all of your settings done, you just hit the big blue button to save your assignment. And that's all you need to do for the assignment. And then I can scroll down and add my rubric on the left. It defaults to some rubric, so you can change the name. You can also add criteria. So you just hit the little pencil. When you hover, things pop up. So I can hover and I can change the criteria name. It defaults to full marks or no marks. So if I want another, and it's 0 to 5 points, but if I want 3 in here, I just click in between it. It will automatically calculate the points in between. And I can also edit the descriptions for each rating. And you can add as many criteria as you want. If you've created any outcomes or there's any at the account level that you can pull in, you can find an outcome, and that will show here where you can import those outcomes to your course. Another crucial thing that you'll want to do, if you're going to use it for grading, be sure to check this box, use this rubric for grading, because then it will calculate the points really quickly. And then you create the rubric. So that's all you need to do. You can access SpeedGrader from here as well. And we'll go over SpeedGrader and grading in a moment. So do you have any questions about the assignments and how those are set up? Okay, so we'll go to quizzes. If you do, just pop in. So quizzes, I always recommend creating question banks. If you add questions to a quiz, they'll just end up in this unfiled question.
Diane, we have a question.
Go ahead.
Here.
Okay.
What do you want?
About assignments.
Okay, you want to come up here and talk to her? Sure. Let's do that. Oh, can ask her directly.
Okay. So I have my assignments, and that's how I'm gonna do my grading. And I, I have several groups, and I have sometimes within a group several items. And I was just wondering, how can I weight those items within a group? Because I see the weighting for each group, but then within, like, say, I have a group that is exams, but the final is more than the other exams. So I want, to give, 50% to the final, and to the other exams, say 25 and 25, because I have 2 other of them. So how can I do that?
The only way right now you can do that is create a group for the final exam. So you would create, add another group, and you could call it final. And then update it. So whatever percentage of the grade, you could calculate it. So it's not an easy fix, but you could have 10% of the grade be the final exam. And you could also, the only thing that you can do with the percentage of the information, so when you edit, you can drop the lowest or the highest of that score. But that's about the only thing you can do. You can't weight things within the group. So you would just create a new group.
Within the group, how is the calculation done? Is it given the same weight to everything?
Yeah, or you could change the point value so that the final has a higher point value. So it just takes the percentage of what they get on each one, of how many points that's worth.
And then it averages that, or what? I mean, I just don't understand. I really need to understand the mechanics within a group when I'm having.
Okay. Yeah, it's just like if something's worth more points, then they're calculated with. Not very good at explaining this, but if the group is just the percentage. So whatever the score is for that group. So if the let me see if I can show it. So for example, these assignments, one's worth 15 points, this one's worth 30, this one's worth 30. So this is the point value. So what Canvas does is it adds up all of these points of what they get, the percentage of what they get with all of these points, and then that percentage, and then they take a percentage to add, they weight it for the full amount. So if your final is worth like 100 points, that has a lot higher value than all of the other ones. So you would just, it just has a higher point value. So I think it's automatically weighted more that way, if that makes sense, because it's a bigger portion of the grade because of how many points it's worth.
Okay. It's just that for the students, it's usually best if they see a percentage for everything. So I always make it out of 100, so they see, you know, what would be their achievement within that scale. And then it will be useful, though, you know, if I could have the weighting, but in a way that doesn't interfere with them seeing that. But for what I see, there's no way to do that.
Yeah, and that's like I said, you could create the group for the final exam. In the grade book, it does all the calculations for you. So in the grade book here, you'll see that it has the final exam and then all of the other items. So this portion on the right is calculated through Canvas. So it just, it weights it and does all of that for you. So you could figure out what the final exam is worth of the total grade of the course and then have that show up here.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else look at it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go to quizzes. Unless someone else had a question, feel free to jump in too if you have questions, because it helps me learn too. So you can manage question banks. That way, if you have questions that you just add that aren't attached to a question bank, they're just unfiled questions here, so they'll still be here. But then if you have like a question bank for Unit 1 or Unit 2, you could pull from them. You could have like Unit 1 multiple choice, Unit 2 true and false. So you could set up question banks that way too, and then randomly pull from those question banks. So it's just good to keep question banks because then it's just more organized. And to create it, you just add a question bank on the right, and then you would add the questions to it, similar to how you do with a quiz. So we'll go into the quizzes itself, and I can create a new quiz on the right. And we'll name this UW Quiz 1. I can create the settings for this quiz, so I'm going to have it a graded quiz. You also have a practice quiz, which will not show up in your gradebook, a graded survey where they get credit just for doing it, or an ungraded survey where, and this can be anonymous too. So I'm going to do a graded quiz. I'll keep it in the final exam group here. The shuffle answer here, this will just shuffle the answers, not the questions. So if you want to, I'll show you in a moment how to do the questions, but if you do shuffle the answers, do not use questions that have all of the above, because that will randomly be on the top sometimes, in the middle. So you want to avoid, if you're going to shuffle the answers, questions that have all of the above or 3 and 4 above or whatever it might be, because then those will be shuffled and be in random places. You can allow a time limit, so you can say how long it is. They'll be notified when their time is running out, and if the time is up, Canvas will automatically save that document. You can also add multiple attempts. If you leave it blank, it will be unlimited. You would just check the box to put how many they're allowed. You can also keep the highest or the lowest. So you can say, or latest, which one you want to save. By default, you will see students' quiz responses and which answers were correct, like I showed. If you don't want the students to see that, you just have to deselect these items. You can also restrict the quiz with an access code or an IP filter address. Maybe they have to take it in a testing center. And then show one question at a time. So I showed you where there's a list of questions. If you just want them to see the question and that's it, and then when they're done, they go to the next question, you can do that. And you can also lock it so that they can't go back. So if they skip a question, they still can't go back and answer it. And then, again, like the assignments, you could have different dates for sections. And you can also have it locked down, so you could have it available from, you know, August 28th between 3 and 4 o'clock. And then the students will see that they have a quiz, but they can't take it until that in between that time frame. And so once you have all of your settings set up, you just save. And then we can go in and do the questions. Okay, and I saw that there was a question about, can we upload our own rubric? Unfortunately, you can't. You would have to you could, well, no. You wouldn't be able to put them in our rubric form, so you would have to retype them in. If you have rubrics that you want to use, I would have it done and that other people might like, that you could have the department set it up and then everybody can share them and edit them. They won't edit the one you're using for your course, but they can take it into their course and edit it. So that's a great way to, you could use cut and paste properties, yeah, so you could just cut and then paste it into Canvas, and then you can always reuse it if it's in Canvas. And then for grading, it works great when you use the Canvas rubric. You're welcome. So now I have it, I need to edit my questions, so I'm going to edit again and do the questions. And this is the options that you have. A new question here, if you add a new question, it will show up in those unfiled questions. I can add a question group, so I could say like group 1 or multiple choice. If I did question banks based on multiple choice, true, false, I could do that as well and create a group. This group is how you, this group here is how you randomize your questions. So I'm going to, I can add multiple choice, true, false, fill in the blank. So I have my basic options. You can move the arrow around to the right answer by just clicking next to the one that's right. So you wouldn't always want to put the correct one on top if you're not going to shuffle the answers. You can also do true and false. Multiple drop downs. This is kind of a fun one because you can have different answers. Whoops. So now you'll see that I added it. You have to have these brackets around the item, and then it asks for show possible answers for color 1 and color 2. So this is a fun little tool. You can do essays, and you can have a file upload where the student can upload a file to attach a file to the quiz. So those are some of the options that you have in here. When you're done editing, you just hit the update questions, and that will put that question in there. I can also add another question group, and this one I'm going to use a question bank. So I'll say chapter 1 and link to a question bank. So this will pull up the various question banks I have. So I'm going to select this bank. And now I can say I want 3 questions from this bank. If there's only 3 questions in the bank, it will randomly take 3. If there's 5, it will randomly take 3 out of those 5, and so I can create a group this way as well. And it will tell you which bank those questions are being pulled from. You can also find questions, so I can find and pull questions from various question banks, and I can say I just want question 1 and 4, and then I can add those questions that way too, and then save. So just because you saved all of your information, in order for the students to have access, it has to be published. So just like the course has to be published, the quiz has to be published for the student to access it. So once you publish it, you can republish it later if you make changes, but students won't be able to access it until it's published. And then now it will show you, when you see this blue, take the quiz, you can even go in here and take the quiz yourself and practice. This is what the students will be able to do. I didn't add anything. But now you'll see that we have more options on the side. So when I tab these, it's a little bit more helpful to see which item. And then when you click on it, it will pull up that item to the top. So you can go in and even take the quiz after you create it. So is there, and then after you create the quiz too, you're able to moderate it. So if you need to give students more attempts or time, you can do that as well. So is there any questions on the quiz at all? You can also, with this little gear, you have some more options. You can show rubric, you can lock the quiz, so if you want to lock it down. So it gives you a few more options, this little gear on the right-hand side.
Diane, we have a question here.
Okay.
I may have missed this. How do you put in a page of information that introduces a group of questions? For example, a fictional scenario or explanation or something like that.
You would go and I'll edit the quiz. So if it's for the whole entire quiz, you would put it under the quiz instructions here. And if it's for questions, you really can't do it for the group. You could put details in here, but not a whole page of information here. But you could put, if it's a specific question that you want to have that information, so if I add a question here, you'll have that rich content editor. So for that question, you could put all of those details in there too, but not for a group, unfortunately.
I think we're good here now.
Okay, great. And then there was a question, what was,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, here we go, sorry.
Sorry, I have one question. I'm just wondering how to delete the grading history. How to delete, like I took the quiz. I don't want the Canvas combine my grade and my students' grade together. Do you know what
it won't calculate in the grades, but when you go to the settings and go to student view on the upper right, there's this reset student. So that will reset the test student's grade.
And as a test student, when she took the quiz herself, is that count as a true test student grade or no? Because what she did, she went ahead and took that quiz herself, and apparently the grading history is there.
Oh, and it still shows up there? Okay,
yeah.
Let me go in. So you want to take them out of this version. It should, when you try that, because when you reset it, it should take it out of there. But if it doesn't, let me know, and I'll find out.
So she would go to the settings and then do the student view, and that would reset it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
or what,
it should. If it doesn't, let me know.
Okay.
So.
I think we really are good this time.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, this is helpful. So, and then there was a question that if one would start with a test bank and then go to a quiz and draw the question out, yes, and I said, yes. So I just recommend it because then it just organizes all your questions if you create them in a question bank first. And then when you create the quiz, you can pull them from those question banks. Also, if you upload question banks from publisher content using like a CPI file, that's how you would do it. Or if you convert your previous courses and they have test banks in them already, those will come into Canvas as test banks. So you still have, those would be pre-populated if you imported them. Okay, then we'll go to discussions. Maybe. Okay, my computer froze. I'm not sure what happened here. I'm gonna log out and go back in. Not sure why it froze. Okay, so I'll go back into that course. Hopefully it won't freeze. I'm working from home, so I usually don't work from home. So I'm going to go into the discussion. And so to add a new discussion, you just hit the plus. and this will add a new discussion. You can also add discussions in the modules, on the assignment page, and the calendar. So you can add it in different areas as well. You would just put in the title of that module or of that discussion, the description. It's the whole rich content editor. You can link to things. Again, links to other things in Canvas, files, images. So you have all that same access. You could post a video, like a TED video, have the students watch it and then discuss it. You could also, here where it says must post before seeing replies, people tend to like this a lot, except students, because then the students have to actually say what they think first without browsing and seeing what other people said. Because a lot of times students may go in and read everybody else's post and then come up with their answer. This way they have to come up with their own answer first, then they can go in and read everyone else's and comment on everyone else's. So this tends to be a popular feature. You can also have it graded, so you would put in the point value. And so the assignment group, those are the groups that I created on the assignment page. The last one I added was that final exam, so I want to move this so it's in the right category. You can make it a group assignment or a peer review, just like in the assignments. I think I missed that in assignments, but you have those options as well. And then you can also have it by section. So if you do have multiple sections, you can create it so only those sections can talk to each other and have different due dates here. So, or have different due dates for those sections, I mean. So, and then when it's available from and until. So that way that discussion is only open between those dates as well. And when you're done, you would just save your changes. And so they're pretty self-explanatory. You can subscribe to one so that you can hear so that you can have updates or notifications when things are posted to that particular discussion. The little gear on the right will also give you some more information. And again, just like quizzes and assignments, you can add rubrics as well. So those are some options for the discussions. So in Canvas, you can grade assignments, quizzes, and discussions. And those are the main types of assignments that we have, are those three. Oh, and then someone said they're not sure what a group is in quizzes. In quizzes, the groups are just basically a way to randomize your questions. So the only way to randomize a question, so if you wanted randomly, so every student, when they took the quiz, every student would have a different question. The only way to do that is to create a group. So that's what the groups are. And it's a way to pull from the quiz banks as well. Does that make sense? So if I go back in here in the questions and I add a group, so the questions are just in here and they won't be randomized unless they're in a group. And so then you can link it to a question bank and pull from it so it randomly takes those questions. And again, if you make any changes to the quiz, it will make you republish the quiz. So just to be aware of that. Okay, the People tab, if you allow the students to have this People tab, they can also create user groups. This is also where you can create user groups. So you would just make a new set of groups on the upper right. Every group that you create will have a tab, and then you would go in and hit the plus to add that particular group. You can move students around, like if you want to unassign them and take them out of a group, and I just added this third group, I can take those students and put them back in this new group that I've added. So you can just drag and drop students around, and you can also delete the group as well. So students, if you leave this People tab in, they can create their own groups as well, or their own groups as well. So like if they have a study group that they all want to get together in Canvas and do a study group, that is how they would do that. And in groups in Canvas, they're basically a place for collaboration. So I'll open up this tab with my other groups here. So you'll see at the top I have courses and groups. So if I go into a particular group, every group in Canvas, whether it's an account level or a course level, whether it was students created or teachers created, will have the same navigation on the left-hand side. So they'll have their home, announcements, pages, like wiki pages they can work on. They can see who's in it. They can post discussions among the group. They can share files. They can do conferences. Conferences in Canvas are like what we're doing right now. It would be like audio, video, screen desktop sharing. They could do a whiteboard. So it's a great way. You can even do open office hours. The conferences tool is also the course level. All of these are at the course level as well. But you could also conference at the course level and then have your office hours remote online that way as well. Collaborations are sharing a Google Doc or a Etherpad document. So as you see the group, this cannot be edited or altered. So this is the set group navigation. So when you're in a group, this is the navigation you have, and this is what you can do. So again, groups, when it deals with people in Canvas, is just a way to collaborate and share information. So I'm back in my course, so you see I have those same tools: conferences, collaborations, announcements, discussions. So it just pulls the collaboration tools from the course and puts it in the group as well. So you can have another place to do that where small groups can work together. The chat tool is relatively new, and this will just be an open chat for your course. It's not private chat. You can see who's online, and you can communicate with your students and each other. So if a student's working on a homework and it's 1 in the morning, they can see who else is doing the homework at the last minute, and they can chat about it, like ask questions. The teacher can always see this chat. Everybody in the class can see this chat, so it's not private. But it's a great way to see who else is in and just discuss live what's going on with that course. File folders. The files in the left navigation, this is how you can organize your files for the course. If you do import from another system, a lot of times they will just come in here automatically when they're like Words and PowerPoints and things like that. Will populate here. The file folders and the files will show up on the left hand. The right side is where you bring things in, you add files, you add folders, and it would automatically go to the left side. And you can also, so if I bring in a zip file, so I have this video of zip files, all I have to do is drag in a zip file, and it will load automatically into my system. So it will automatically, you can drag and drop individual files, or you can drag and drop a zip file. And then it will bring it into Canvas automatically. And then you can organize it too. So if you have a lot of files you want to bring in, the best way to do it is zip it up and just drag it in here, and it will automatically populate Canvas with those files. And so this is uploading. So now I have all of these files that I just added. And so I can't move them around on the left. I have to move them around here on the right. And when you hover over the icon, a cross will appear, and I can just drag it to where I want that file to go. So that's how I would organize it. I can add files, or folders, I mean. I can add folders and files and everything on the upper right. So if I want to add a new folder like I did with videos and quizzes, I can do that. You can upload zip files as well. So again, just hover over and then drag it where you want that to go, so you can organize your files. There was a question. Okay, there's a question about an eCollege test bank for Hinduism. What is the best way to import them? So to import quizzes, you go into settings or anything in Canvas, and I'm not familiar with eCollege, so I need to check to see if we have that import. So you import content into the course on the right. And then there's a drop down here. And I don't see eCollege, so if it's a QTI zip file, this is what's used for quiz banks. You would select this. But I could have talked to the Chris, your account managers, to see how this works. Like I said, I'm not familiar with eCollege, and it doesn't look like we have any kind of tool for eCollege. But you would import it, and then you would select the question bank you want to, oh, that's to export. But you would just import it here, browse. You would save it to your desktop or wherever, browse, and then you can just import it that way. But I'll check with the Chris's about the eCollege and how to import test banks. That's your account relationship manager and implementation managers. Okay, so let's see. Are you guys going to use attendance at all? Is anyone going to use attendance?
Well, we actually don't have it in there yet, but they said they would put it in. I don't really know. Is anybody in here planning to use attendance? Yes, we would like to see what it does, I guess.
Okay. So and I forgot I didn't even do the grade book. So sorry about that. I'll go back next. The attendance tool here, it'll have a list of your students. It will have either a list, or you can on the upper right hit class. And then you can rearrange the students so they're sitting in the order of they are in your classroom if it's a live class. And you can double click on the student and say whether they're here, they're not here, they're late, or you didn't take attendance. So you just click on the students. If it's a list, again, you can just click on the icon to say whether they're late. There's also this more here where you can go in and click per student on the different areas. You can also add badges. So if they're sleeping, you can create a badge so you know which students are sleeping in your class or participating, or if they have an explained absence. So you can create these badges too if you want. And in the gear on the upper right, you can also have a report. So you can, and they can also be reported at the account level. So you can run an attendance report. And then also you can define what lateness counts. So if they're there, 35%, 90%, if they're a minute late. So you can put what percentage of that class is determined for lateness. And then Canvas will calculate the percentages automatically in your gradebook. And so you'll see it as roll call. And so we'll add that to your account.
Okay. We have a question.
Yeah, and maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but is it possible to collate attendance with grades?
Yeah, in the gradebook here, so I need to go over gradebook. Thank you. So that's a great segue. So in your gradebook, all of your columns here are populated by assignments in Canvas. So anything that was created on the calendar, modules, assignments page will appear here. That's the only way right now to add something to the gradebook. The attendance roll call, this in the middle here, and I can just drag it to the front if I want it to be the first column. This is calculated by Canvas. So I can go in here and I can manually change the date, but this calculation is automatically calculated based on you taking attendance. So that's automatically in there. If someone turns it in late, an assignment, it'll be pink, like in the middle here. So if someone has a lot of pink, they're always turning in their assignments late. The test student at the very bottom here, I reset my scores, so now they're all 0. But even if there are scores in this, they won't be calculated in your class settings.
Okay. Well,
really what my question is can you show either by student or for the whole class those who attended more got better grades?
We'll go back into the attendance tool.
Or worse grades.
And it's probably in the report settings. So you hit the attendance report, and you can filter your data. So you'll get a report back with that information. Hopefully it has all the information you need, but you have to run a report to get that. And you would just want to make sure that your email address is the one you want that report sent to. And then you run report, and it will send you the report. So you put the filter dates if you want, or it will just be the whole attendance so far in the semester. And then you can run that report. And on an individual level, if you go into a particular student, you should be able to see their attendance. Oh yeah, it'll just show the percentage again. So it'll just see how they're doing so far. So yeah, it calculates it, so it doesn't really have a report in Canvas. You'll have to run that report to see the details. And that's actually another company we deal with to get that stuff, so that's why it's not, it's kind of basic of what you see in Canvas. Okay, so in the gradebook here, you can download, so if you do all of your grading in an Excel spreadsheet or something, you can download or upload your CSV scores, and then you can bring them into Excel or another. You can hide students' names so you can grade objectively, or if you're doing it in class and you don't want people to see grades. This is also where you can set weights and you can arrange some of the columns, so you have some options here. If I go into a specific assignment here, I'm going to go grade this paper. So I'm going to use the speed grader. Also, before that, you can also message students who haven't submitted yet, so you can send a message to those students. You can have ones who haven't been graded yet, so you can send a message to those students, let you know you're still working on them. If they scored less than or scored more than something, you can also message them. So that way you're sending a quick message to your students based on the assignment, and they don't see who else got the message, so it's just to them as far as they know. And you can also download submissions here as well, and you can mute the assignment. This mute the assignment is really important if you're manually grading things, because as soon as a grade goes into the gradebook, it goes out to the student instantly. So if you you're going to have students that say, so-and-so got theirs like Monday, and why don't I have mine yet? So this way, nobody gets their grades until you release all of them at the same time. I'm going to go into SpeedGrader. And this will open up to SpeedGrader. And in the upper left, you'll have the student information. It will show who's graded and who's not graded yet. And you can also go from one student around by the arrow. So when you're done, you can hit the arrow to go to the next student and kind of work your way around. It will also, in the middle where it says scientific method, that will open up that specific assignment. And below that, it tells you when this assignment was due. And then on the far right, you can unmute the assignment here. So when you finish the last one, you can just unmute it here. Or if you forgot to unmute it, you can always mute it here as well. And then it gives you some settings about how it's sorted. And you can also hide the students' names here as well if you wanted to. So it gives you some options along the top. On the right-hand side, you can see where it has scientific method. That is the original document the student submitted. So if you want to open up in Word, this is where you would do it. This assignment has a rubric associated, so I can open up the rubric, and all I need to do here is click on, and this works great with iPads, I just click on each of the item and it populates the score for me. And there's a little comment box below that I can write how, it'll say what the criteria was, and I can give comments to the students as well. And then once I'm done, save, and this will automatically populate the score. So I can see the rubric score here. And now I could do this other part first. It's just up to you how you want to do this. But I can also comment and annotate right inside the paper. So I can hit comments, so I can do a point comment. So I can write a message about this specific area. Then I can go in and I can also do an area comment. So I can put an X around a certain area and write a comment. You have to put something in the comments here for it to stick. And when students go into this too, they can also reply to your comments. And then I can also do a text comment, which is basically highlighting. And so then I can put a comment in there about highlighting. You can draw on the paper, so you have various colors here you can choose from. So you can make a happy face if you want. You can circle things, so if you want to have a circle, you can do that as well. And you can have, whatever you want to do, have some kind of item. You can put a text box, so now maybe I want to put a text box in here and type something. And then you can also highlight. This highlight just highlights. It doesn't, you have different colors that you can use. It doesn't put in any information. It just highlights. And then you can also strike out. So I can strike out something. So maybe if I want them to remove this area, I can explain why I want them to remove this. So you have different ways to annotate the paper right inside of Canvas. Their Word document is not touched. This is using Crocodoc, and it only accepts PDF, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Otherwise, you will have to open up in the original form and not be able to annotate. So now I can mark up their whole paper, and also on the right-hand side on the bottom, I can add an additional comment here. And so I can put in information about why they did, what they did, and this comment here on the bottom right will show up in their inbox or wherever they have their notifications sent. You can also attach document, and you can also personally tell the students how they did with audio, video, or you can upload a media. So if you were talking on your iPhone or something, you could upload that video and submit it that way. So again, you would have to submit at the other stuff you don't have to, like this on the left, you don't have to submit, just the comments on the right, and this will show up in their inbox. So they'll get this for their notification settings at the bottom right. So again, this is Crocodoc. Does anyone have any questions on Crocodoc or how this works? You can also download, so if you want to download the annotated version, you could do that here as well.
We have a question.
Okay.
So Dianna, you said that if you submit a comment, the comment shows up in the student's inbox. How does a student know if you've annotated and graded? How are they notified about that?
Okay, I will go into a student's view. So I'm going to actually go in here, and I'm going to masquerade as a student. Only admins have this ability, so I'm just going to go in as a student real quick. So the paper I just graded was Tyler, or wait, I didn't put a comment on there, so let me go to Ed. I might have a comment on his paper. So just like I said, this stuff you can't do, but just to show you from a particular student's view. Okay, so I just got a new grade here, so as a student I can go in and see my grade. Oh, whoops, I forgot to unmute it. Sorry. So the student can't see the grade because I muted it, so now I unmuted it. So now as a student I should be able to go in there and see my grades. So now, before, if you saw that little speaker, that's what the student will see when it's muted. So now as a student, I can go in here and I can see my the rubric information. So I can see how I did on the rubric. If I click the title, I can see the annotated version. So the students will see this. This scientific method doc will actually open to this gets a little confusing, but this annotated, this won't show the annotation. That's just the original format with nothing on it. They have to see those annotations, have to see this little tiny paper with a magnifying glass in it. That's where they would go to see the annotated version. So they can see the whole document here. The comments made in this will not show up in their inbox, but as a student, I can also reply to my teacher here and explain how I felt about what that comment is. And then I could say, the comments that they showed would show up. I guess I picked one that didn't have a comment here. But there will be a little messaging where it says thank you and his name. The comments that you make will show up on here as well, and whatever you said will show up here. So it's a string of conversation up here on the right. And so if I go back into my other window as the teacher and go to my inbox, so now in my inbox, I have a new message. And here's that message from Kevin saying thank you. So that's what I just added on the other page. So I got a new message. And so that's what it would show up for him too. It would be a blue circle. When you make a comment on his paper, it will be a blue little circle like this, and it will show up so he can see that message. Does that answer the question?
It does.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
Oh, sure, you're welcome. Any other questions on that? For the speed grader, is there anything, is that the main stuff? There's anything, we have a few minutes left. Is there anything else that I didn't cover that you want me to, or something you want to see again that I can help with?
We had one question here. We actually have a couple questions in the room here, but we were wondering, is there any way to set the notification preferences individually by course, or are they kind of set globally?
They're set globally by the user, yeah.
Okay, and here's a second question.
We host a lot of videos on a third-party server, and I tried to embed one of those, and it strips out all the embed code. Is there a way to, I could link to it, and it would open Windows Media Viewer, but when I tried to embed it, it would not embed.
I'll have to check with the Chris's on that. If you, because there's some stuff that Canvas does strip with the HTML. So sometimes, like you can't, for example, with HTML2, when you create a page or something, if you if you put in the HTML portion and you try to add a color or something, and then you go and it doesn't save. So they do strip out things, and I'm not sure for videos, why it selects to strip out some things. So that's just, if you have an example of a video that you want to embed, if you want to send it to, or give it to Julie or someone to send as an example, we can figure out why it's going on and see if there's something around it.
I can do that. One thing I know about these videos is they're Microsoft Silverlight embed, which maybe that's the issue. I don't know.
Oh, that could be.
But I'd be happy to provide the embed code to Julie. Or
Sam, probably.
Sam? All right. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and if they could send it to, because I'm actually going on vacation in a half hour. So, heading to the airport at noon. So, so the Chris's will be in the office, so they can find out what's the issue, because I don't know all of the coding stuff and why it strips some things or not, so they can find out at the office.
Any other questions? I think we're good, Dianna. Really appreciate your help here.
Sure, no problem. And I'll send a link to this video, and if you think of any questions, let me know. Or Chris, copy the Chris's on it as well, and they can help out too. So we're all here to help you if anything comes up, because I know this is a lot of information to throw at you, and until you get in and play with it, that's when the questions really pop up. So
don't worry, we'll be playing with it quickly.
Okay,
Monday we have a
great,
bunch of classes starting, so we'll be getting
right,
back to you probably.
Okay, well, good luck with everything, and be sure to use the guides. They're so helpful. Like I said, I still use them all the time, so they're really helpful.
Great, thank you very much. Have a good vacation.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.